have used the term living the dream. How many of you actually meant it? When you're having a terrible, no good, very bad day, and someone asks you how you are, and you respond, living the dream, what do you mean? Why do we always use sarcasm? Is it possible to say, live in the dream, and mean it? Yeah, it is. In order to live the dream, you must turn your attitude of impossible into an attitude of I'm possible by creating a list, making a plan, and committing. How many of you think juggling is impossible for you? Well, I can teach you how to juggle in 3 minutes or less. You think I'm crazy, right? I felt the same way last year when I was told the exact same thing. However, 3 minutes later, I was juggling. He started off slow and told us to use sound effects. I felt foolish, but I did it anyway. After a few times, we threw 2 balls and continued to use sound effects. Again, I felt foolish, but I trusted the process. Then we added the 3rd ball with the instructions to always keep one in the air. He said if we continued to use our voices and say what we were doing, we were really only throwing 2 balls, since one's always in the air. Up, up, down, down. It was as simple as that. Within 3 minutes, I turned impossible into possible. Like juggling, we can feel foolish at times, trying to pursue our dreams. It's messy, it's awkward, and there really are no guarantees. But we cannot listen to these fears. Think of your dreams. How many of them have you actually tried to accomplish? How many times have you sat down and tried to figure out how to make your dream a reality? If you don't try to accomplish your dream, the worst has already occurred. Your dream isn't going to become a reality. I know you all have dreams, like juggling, that you think are impossible. But, like juggling, there's steps you can take. I made impossible possible this year. My first big dream was to go to college, and in the fall, I will be. I'm the first in my family to accomplish this, which created additional hurdles and battles. My family was extremely supportive, but they didn't understand the admissions process or have access to the resources I needed. However, I wasn't going to let these obstacles get in the way of me accomplishing my first big dream. I sought out help from people like my counselor who were able to help me with the admissions process. I applied to 10 schools and over 35 scholarships. I wrote more essays than the 11 years of school prior. And I heard no a lot. There were times I wanted to quit. I was tired of applications, tired of writing and rewriting essays, tired of spending hours on the computer searching for scholarships, only to find one that applied to me. That didn't stop me. In the end, I received almost $750,000 in scholarships. One of the scholarships I received gave me hope, showed me my potential, allowed me to reach for the sky, and provided me the opportunity to meet Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas at a conference in DC. During the conference, when asked how he achieved his dreams, he answered that he made a chart of all the positives and all the negatives in his life. He included sleeping in, not going to classes, and certain people he was friends with on his negative list. Then he went to his positives and included his family, his education, his faith, and other friends. He realized he had to remove or change the negatives in his life. He had to be incredibly honest with himself to be able to do this. And we have to do the same. We have to be honest with ourselves and not be blind to our shortcomings or the incredible things about us. You all have pads on your tables, if you could take those out now, and I'm going to walk us through doing this process. You could draw a line down the center and label the left with positive and the right with negative. First, when we make this list, we have to look at our lives and see the people around us. When I made my list, I realized I had to remove my peers who were caught up in the wrong things, or dramatic girls who were caught up in others' lives. For you, it may be negative habits, drugs, laziness, procrastination, pessimistic or selfish people, or those who ask more than they give. You know those girls that use both hands when they bowl? Well, they make me look good. I used to play softball, and when I bowl, I throw it similar, where I get a really high arch, and then it slams on the ground, and I somehow get a spare or strike. My friend used to always make fun of me, and I realized his negative words didn't end with bullying. Other voices, other than his, were speaking negatively to me, and I realized I had to cut them out. Our second step is to look at ourselves. We have to take a hard look inside to see who we are. You have to face your weaknesses so you're able to work on them. That may be doing too many things at once, peer pressure, fear, feeling unmotivated, or having low self-esteem. It's hard for me to admit that I have flaws because every human wants to see themselves as perfect. But in order to accomplish your dreams, you have to be honest with yourself. I'm that type of person that says yes to everything. I end up with 110 different things to do in a day, and sometimes don't get what I need done. I'm also a chatty Cathy, as some would say. I'm so enthusiastic about life and what I'm doing that I'll ramble on about everything that's happening. This can be overwhelming to some, sometimes annoying. I'm that type of person that'll be having a conversation with someone and telling them a story, and they'll laugh at me saying, "That's the 4th time you've told me." I realized I wasn't giving others their chance to talk, so I worked on asking questions, so I wasn't overruling conversations. I worked on ways to remind myself that one errand I postponed to the next day, and that 1 minute I didn't add on to a conversation, I could be using to work on my dreams. Next, we look at the strengths. You may be good at time management, driven, motivated, confident, or good at collaboration. I'm really good at planning and organizing. I'm that kid in my freshman class who has my next 5 years planned out. I know every class and every extracurricular I want to fit in between those classes. My weakness is I can't say no because I don't want to miss out on anything. Realize I'm terrified of saying no, but the positive side is it's forced me to become really good at planning and organizing a lot of moving parts. You've got to weigh out your strengths and your weaknesses to see how you're holding yourself back. Your life is a play in which you are the star, and you write your own script. You control your future, and you can turn impossible into I'm possible by creating a list. Creating a list is the first step. Making a plan is the next. Look at your negative side. How many of those can be removed or changed? My goal when I entered high school was to see what my community needed and make it happen. I thought I'd be able to do this by joining my student government class. I imagined it would be about seeing what my community needed, coming up with new ideas, and implementing them in my school. Instead, we were doing icebreakers. We were organizing homecoming and prom, and doing one food drive a year. It was a meaningless 5 hours a week for me, and I realized it wasn't the right group for me, so I left. I needed to find a group who embraced each other's new ideas and made them happen. I needed to find a group who wanted to make a positive change in their community. I found an organization where the leader was fun, motivational, and reached for the sky. She inspired me, and instead of saying no, she said yes. It's hard to look at yourself for the answer on why things aren't working and to make the change. It's so easy for me to blame others for problems, but the common denominator in this situation was me. I needed to make the change on my own. When I had the right people in my life, they empowered me and supported me when I created my own anti-bullying program for youth. And because of that, I was recruited on a team to create an international curriculum to fight youth-on-youth violence. Because I now had the right people in my life, I found my yes. I realized you can turn impossible into I'm possible. It's all about perspective. How many times have you wanted to do something but never did because you didn't have a plan or were too afraid to take the next steps? Realize there are steps you need to take, even if you don't know what those steps are. Sometimes your first step is finding someone who can help you find the steps to accomplish your dream. Write your steps down. That's your plan. And that's how you'll make your dream happen. Every person has different obstacles, different challenges that they'll face. And every person has their own way to deal or overcome with these obstacles. It's those who are able to overcome and continue up that mountain who are dreaming big, aiming high, and turning impossible into possible. Something amazing happens when you do this. You realize one dream turns into many. When you accomplish one, you set your sights higher. I don't know about you, but I don't ever want to tell someone that I didn't take risks to accomplish a dream because I was too afraid of failing or getting hurt. When someone asks me how I am, I want to be able to answer, livin the dream. Livin the dream means consistently dreaming, consistently reaching higher, climbing that next peak, and looking for something more. Dreaming means believing, and believing in yourself. So, how do you turn impossible into I'm possible? Create your list, make a plan, and commit. That's it. 3 steps. Livin the dream is all about perspective. Alice from Alice in Wonderland once said, "I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." Now, the question for you is, will you believe 6 impossible things, then make a bowl of Lucky Charms, sit back, and hope for the best? Or will you believe those 6 impossible things and get working, making those 6 impossible things a reality by dinner? Thank you.